So, and I'm in a relationship with 9 other people right now, it feels like, and the idea of moving in with them all, yeah, we're polygamous. And non-sexual. But polygamists generally have their own houses, so, and we don't have them, so that's confusing. I wish we hadn't said that. We should play another song.
Let's move on.
Yeah.
Thanks for being with us. We are live at the Downtown Borders on Liberty Street. Plenty of time to stop on by, see Tegan and Sara play a few more tunes, and they'll be signing CDs, their latest CD, The Con, immediately after the performance. Are we ready for another song, my friends?
Sure, we're gonna do a song called Back in Your Head. There's a wall of books between us and our bed. Repeat the words that I know we both said. Relax into the need, we get so comfortable. Remember when I was so strange and like a bow. Just away from holding hands with you. I know these habits hurt important parts of you. Remember when I was sweet and unexplainable. Nothing like this person unlovable.
Tegan and Sara live at Borders. So Sara, please, live on 107. Back in Your Head from their new CD called The Con. They'll be signing copies of The Con immediately after the performance this afternoon. I'm curious, Sara, if you would tell us what was the inspiration for that song, which just is one of the best songs you folks have ever written. I really love that one.
You know, sometimes when I'm writing a song, I don't really know what I'm writing about. Like, I know that sounds silly, but
not always directly based on.
It's like stream of consciousness in some weird way, yeah. Like, and I remember the first thing that I wrote for that song was the "I'm not unfaithful, but I'll stray" part, and And I know it seems like, I mean, it can mean a lot of different things. Like for me, it meant more like... It could mean
you're being unfaithful.
It could mean that you're being unfaithful. But I didn't necessarily mean it like in a physical sense. I meant it more like in an emotional sense that like when I'm...
Which is like way worse.
Kind of, yeah.
like the running company.
Yeah. Thank you. That's my job.
Anyways, yeah. But I think like for me, like I was in a relationship that I had been in for a long time, and I think that it was more of like the song is like a dialogue about a relationship where you're like, you know, you're still like connected and you're like with the person, but you know, you've started to sort of emotionally connect with someone else, or even not even with a person, but maybe just like for me, like when I was writing the album, I was very distracted and I was like, you know, like really like very much involved in the process, and so I can get very distracted and disconnected from the person that I'm with, and so
apparently Sarah cocoons.
I cocoon emotionally. Yeah, and like I think that it's cute.
Apparently, physically too. In bed, she wraps herself up in the duvet, so you have to get your own. Why don't you show pictures?
I think it seems cute when you first meet someone and you're telling them, you know, when you're talking about the things that are bad about you or like are potentially red flags, and you're like, I'm emotionally distant and I disconnect, and it'll probably be the end of our relationship when I start to write an album and I disconnect from you and I don't want to be around you anymore. And they're like, oh my God, you're so sweet and mysterious. And then it happens and they're like, I wish you were dead.
I know. Tegan, talk about working with Chris Walla of Death Cab for Cutie, who helped big time with the production of the album. We're big fans, all of us here, I'm sure, of 1071 and at Borders.
Yeah, Chris Walla was, I mean, it was exciting to meet with him. We were obviously big fans of his project, Death Cab for Cutie, and he's produced all their records, and so we were really, you know, stoked to sit down and talk to him, and Sarah went and met with him first, and like, afterwards phoned me and was like, this guy totally understands, he totally is into our process, because I mean, Sarah and I like to record all of our stuff first, and then we were really into exploring adding drums and bass last, which is basically backwards from how it's typically done.
Absolutely backwards.
Yeah, and it's kind of, it's in some cases could be probably potentially very dangerous, because you could spend a lot of time laying down tracks and then, what do you want from me?
I'm talking to Chris, I'm not talking to you.
Well, I mean, can you see that?
I wasn't like locking eyes with you.
I mean, I couldn't tell. It looked like you were really freaked me out. Okay, anyway, back to Chris Walla. Sorry.
They were gesturing at
Sarah was gesturing. Anyway, Sarah went and met with him, and he was totally into that idea. And the other things that he'd thrown out was like he loved the idea of sequencing the record prior to making it. So putting the song order together before you went into the studio.
That's also kind of different.
Well, and strangely, I can't, like, I just don't understand how people don't do that. Now I can't even imagine a time not doing that. Like, it makes perfect sense.
It would be like writing a book, but writing like chapter 13, and then chapter 7, and then chapter 9.
Yeah.
Instead, we just like literally started from the beginning and worked to the end.
Which was really great, because then it was like when we finished I Was Married, it just made sense that Relief Next to Me came next, and we added certain instrumentation or production because of that, you know. Or in a lot of cases, we already knew what the song was going to sound like, because Sarah and I do pretty extensive demos, and so Chris already had this sort of order figured out in his head, and we went down to Portland and reordered it a little bit.
And that's where you did the album?
That's where we did it. Yeah, it was in Portland. So I liked really. I could probably talk about it for like a year. It was like that interesting, and he's a fascinating guy, and
he's also very sweet and eats a lot of cheese and was totally into dressing the same, the three of us, all the time. Like,
yeah. Well, and he basically wore the exact same outfit. If you buy the con, it comes. You can buy it with a movie as well, and we made a movie while we were making the record, and he basically wears the exact same outfit the entire time, and he has multiples, but for the first couple weeks I just thought even the socks were the same, and I was like, this guy is really sweet and he doesn't even smell bad, but he is disgusting. I mean, he wears the exact same outfit every day. And then we found out, I went down into his laundry room and he had like multiples of the shirts and the pants and the socks, and he just gets into a uniform basically every day. And so when we did an interview, a commentary aspect at the end, and of the recording of the album, and we wore his clothes, so all three of us are dressed identical. And I think a friend of mine summed up the best. She said she got about 3 chapters into the movie and then all of a sudden burst out laughing and realized we were all dressed the same, and I was like, oh my god. Yeah. She thought we were geniuses. I'm not going to go that far, but it's pretty damn funny. So he's a good guy.
So you would work with him again?
I would work with him again for
like
sure.
Hit it off.
Yeah, I'd give up Tegan. I would give up Tegan for Chris. So like I would kick the Tegan out of the band, and it would be Chris and Sarah forever. The world in Portland. I just so you know, I mean, you did make me your power of attorney, and I gave your portion of the band to Ted. Really? Happy birthday, Ted. So it's Ted and Chris in the band now. Sarah and I get to retire. Yes! Onto our bus with jewels and champagne. Yeah. It's good.
We're live at Borders, live on 107.1 with Tegan and Sara. They're going to play one more song for our live broadcast, and then I think if everyone hoops and hollers enough, you might get one more tune, maybe more, just for our crowd at Borders. But